the story from there. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, confirming reports that Israel is in talks with several countries about taking in Palestinians from Gaza. Mr. Netanyahu, backed by US President Trump, is pushing for Palestinians to, quote, leave. He says it would be voluntary migration. Critics call it attempted ethnic cleansing. Mr. Netanyahu told Israeli channel I-24 News that he's on an historic and spiritual mission.
Do you connect to the vision?
Very much so.
Really?
Very much. This is the Greater Israel.
The term Greater Israel, often used as a reference to biblical Israel, which would include parts of today's Egypt, Syria, Jordan and Lebanon. Countries across the Arab world are condemning those remarks, as well as Israel's attempt to relocate Palestinians in Gaza. CNN's Oren Liebman is in Jerusalem with more.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has several times talked about what he has described as a voluntary emigration from Gaza, something he says other countries should accept and be willing to take in Palestinians who want to leave. But he's never given any real details on this, and it's never been clear if this plan might actually come to fruition or if there's even any traction behind it. Well, we've learned from a senior Israeli official that Israel is in talks with at least 5 different countries about the possibility of this plan. Those countries include South Sudan, Libya, Ethiopia, Somaliland, and Indonesia. The problem is a number of these countries have already rejected these talks. For example, South Sudan just a few days ago rejected the idea of talks about the displacement of Palestinians. Somaliland did the same several months ago. And Indonesia, within the last week or two, said they could take in about 2,000 Gazans, but it would be for temporary treatment, and then they would return to Gaza. So it's not clear that any of the countries with which this official tells us Israel is discussing this plan are willing to entertain this beyond mere discussions. Still, Netanyahu is pursuing this. We first really heard about this in terms of a goal of Israel when it was in fact President Donald Trump who mentioned it earlier in his term at the beginning of the year, but he appears to have since cooled on the idea. Israel, meanwhile, is pushing forward, insisting this is not an ethnic cleansing of Gaza, it's not forcing people out. Netanyahu saying this would be voluntary.
First of all, inside Gaza, we are not pushing them out either, but we are allowing them to leave.
It is happening very slowly.
You need the receiving countries. We're talking to several countries. I can't detail it here. The most natural thing would be for all those who say they're concerned for the Palestinians and want to help the Palestinians to open their doors. Why are they coming and preaching to us? Open your doors.
Israel has never laid out a clear day-after plan for Gaza, what would happen for more than 2 million Palestinians in the besieged territory. This, potentially, is as close to a day-after plan for what to do with the Palestinians in Gaza as Israel has ever come. The problem is it's unclear if this really has any possibility of happening, not to mention the fact that for this to happen, you need Palestinians willing to permanently leave their home and permanently leave Gaza, and it's simply not clear that that's the case. Oren Lieberman, CNN in Jerusalem.